Okay. So yesterday we got to the end of the parak. Welcome everybody. We got to the end of the parak yesterday, and I said I would go over it again to fix up the hurdles, which I wasn't successful. But the good part is that the part that I did guess what was right is right. The Ran says so. That it makes difficulty, but Ran did say the point. Yesterday we had a story about Rav Chia Ravicha's mother-in-law that also happened to be his brother's widow, and he was supporting her because he had the Yerusha. And after 25 years, he stopped the support, stopped the Kesuva. And the Ran says this is the point, because since she was quiet to 25 years and she's mochel the Kesuva, she's mochel the Mazonos also, which is very interesting because she's been eating, the whole time she's getting Mazonos. And do you see anything that indicates that she's mochel? Like after the 25th yard side, they made the 25th yard side party, whatever, see him, whatever people do. And then the Mazonos stopped, and he says because you're mochel, because it's true that she didn't demand the Kesuba the whole time. But that means she also not the Mazono. So that's what comes out, that she should have said something about the Kesuba, and she doesn't. So then she's mochel the Kesuba, and also the Tanai Kesuba, that's how the Ran explains. So that was our problem yesterday, and I don't have more than the fact that he explains it like that. And it comes out interesting that she, I don't know if she obviously didn't know about it, but it comes out that if she's mochel the Kesuba, if she would have been mochel the Kesuba, the Gemara shows at the end that no, that since he was being so good to her, bringing it by himself every day to the door, so then she was embarrassed to demand the Kesuba. So it doesn't indicate a mechila on the Kesuba. If there would have been a mechila on the Kesuba, then there would have been a mechila on the Mazonos also. That's what comes out. The rest of the Gemara is thought about, let's do it outside. I did the words inside yesterday, and seems to be correct. It comes out that when someone doesn't pay their debts, so Bezdin gives them time. But Archibald brought down that they wait 90 days. If the person didn't pay his debts in 90 days, so then Bezdin writes an adrachta, which means document of collection. She has a right of seizure, and they could sell the property. Here the problem was that he forgot, or he made a mistake. The Rav made a mistake and just wrote that you could seize any of his property, and really only the property that was part of the Yerusha is the part that could be seized. And since he didn't write that, so the Rav, he didn't allow to collect the payers, means that she would have a right initially, according to some sheet, like Gemara goes, that she could collect the profits of that field that he could have collected, even though she didn't collect it. She could have collected it, so therefore she's entitled to the profits of those fields. And she wanted to go back the back pay that he owes her, and he said that here, since the contract is wrong, so therefore you're not allowed to collect from it. She asked the kasha at the end. The woman herself asked the kasha that if it's not written in the contract that there's guarantee.
Probably she got it from her lawyer.
It could be Ton Rabbani, what they have nowadays. So it could. So the halach is a price to sofer, and therefore even if it wasn't written into the document that there's a guarantee anyway, because obviously it's just the scribe made a mistake when he was making up the contract. So he said no. Here the Rav made a mistake because the Rav thought that everything is meshubed to the ksuba, and really only the properties that were inherited are meshubah to the ksuba. The Gemara ended off. Therefore, there's a problem. What's wrong? So take now from the ones that are from the inheritance. So the Gemara ended off that she might have collected the wrong property. If she had the star that says everything could be seized, she might have seized the wrong one and sold it and invested in it. And the Yoresh, who knows that they weren't allowed to take that, would let her invest, and the field that's really coming to her was abandoned. He wasn't taking care of it. And then at the end, after she finishes investing into it, he's going to come to Bezin and say she has no right to take that. That's mine. She could take this one. And this one has been abandoned and hasn't been taken care of. So it's going to be, the wire ends off, it'll be allows on the Bezin that the Bezin didn't, that's going to be bad rumors about the Bezin, that the Bezin gave her such a field, they did wrong, they messed it up. So therefore, this mistake in the star is a very significant mistake, and therefore you can't collect with it at all. She could collect, she was right. And the whole entire she was right. She does get ksuba, and they could collect, but now they have to do from now on, and all the back pay she's not entitled to. So more or less we got it right.
Even though it was a mistake on the base.
Since it was a mistake on the part of the Bezdin, so therefore that star is puzzle, and they have to start again and use that. You make a new adrachta in order to be able to seize property from him now, and specify that it's only from the properties that were from the Yerusha. Okay, so that was the end of yesterday's Gemara. Whatever difficulty we have, we still have to look into. But whatever we did say seems to be right, and there's still some missing pieces.
She can remind about this.
Right, so she doesn't have to demand the ksuba. She can remind. If she would have reminded, she should have reminded. It comes out. Gemara says that in this case she didn't have to say anything because since she was in a position of being so well taken care of, so she's embarrassed, and it's not a doesn't show mechila the same way if she'd be in her husband's house. The fact that she was on for 25 years doesn't show that she's mochel. So too, if she's being taken care of in a way that Yovish is coming every day to her father's house to give her the mazonas, also she's embarrassed as anything, and it doesn't show that she's mochel the fact that she was silent.
I think that's the Mishnah says Mesa Yerusha Maskirin Ksubasa.
What do you see from that?
Yerusha Maskirin Ksubasa.
That means if she dies, also the Yoshim also if she dies, what do you see from that? That the Yoshim have a 25-year wait also. What do you see?
Yes, so the same thing. The same way the Yoshim have a 25-year wait, and if they can't be maskirin.
Just to be maskirin means, yeah. The one says on the top. I think it says on the top of the page over here that if she says it. What does it say in the bottom line of the previous page? What does it say?
But then we use the lashon of tava.
So the Rambam does that. It says in Shulchan Aruch says that as long as she mentions it, even if she doesn't demand it. The truth is, if she demands it, so then she loses mazonas also. Right. So this I think I saw. If I can find, I think it's Kuf Aleph in the Shulchan Aruch.
What is
Mentioning here says she just says I'm not mochel. The fact that I'm not demanding it is not because I'm mochel. I'm not mochel it, but I'm not demanding it now. The halach is when a woman demands the ksuba, she stops getting mazonos, and that's what Avnis is saying. She's stuck. If she demands it, she loses. If she doesn't demand it, she loses. So it says in Shulchan Aruch over here. Culture. This is the remote. So the man says that the Ran says that if she mentioned it and she says that she's quiet, not because she's mochel, that's good enough.
In our case, the reason she said "give me my mazonos" is because they stopped. Right.
After the 25th yard side,
all of a sudden it didn't.
He didn't come.
He didn't come on a special plate every time.
Every day. He came 25 years. He's coming every week, every day. And then after the 25th yard side, goodbye, I don't know you. So what happened? So he said, because you were mochel.
And she was not mochel.
She was not mochel.
Because she's embarrassed.
Right,
and she wasn't embarrassed taking the base down after he didn't bring it.
That's okay.
No, she says now I'm hungry.
That makes sense.
I'm hungry.
Well, he's bringing your food. She's embarrassed.
Is not the rich woman? Is she the rich woman?
Yeah, I hope that they had a happy relationship after all this,
Another mother-in-law.
She was still the mother-in-law, right? She was still the mother-in-law. Okay, everyone should live happily. Okay, new parak. The Mishnah now starts. There were two Dayana Gzeros. We'll put that on the screen. Okay, I'll be from the screen. There were two Dayana Gzeros in Yerushalayim. Dayana Gzeros, Dayana means judges. Gzeros, that they decree. Judges who decreed. The Gemara is going to talk about that a little bit. And Yerushalayim. So that maybe they're judges, but they're not making Gzeros. They're not the ones that, here we're going to see that they made certain Gzeros. We'll see in the Gemara. So there were two in Yerushalayim, Admon, Chanan ben Avishalom. And the Gemara is going to talk about Chanan Omer Shnei Dvarim, Admon Omer Shiva. There were two things that Chanan said different than the Chachamim, and the Mishnah is going to talk about those two things. And then Admon said 7 things, and the Mishnah is going to now list all the 9 things. The first 2 are going to be related to our subjects. The rest of them might not be. And the first Mishnah right away is going to start with the first one, the 2 of Chanan. What is that? It doesn't say his father's name, but the Gemara is going to say his father's name. The Mishnah doesn't say. And Taisus here points about Chanan ben Avishalom, that his father's name was not Avshalom. Avshalom was a Russia, and the Gemara talks about you're not supposed to give a name of a Russia. That's what this says, Avishalom. I just said that. That it says that Avshalom would have been a Russia. So Taisus says that his name is not Avshalom, his name was Avishalom. And Machavusa, who happens to be also a tour guide, he does mention that they found right near Gei Ben Hinnom, they found over here a Kvorim that says Avishalom and Chanan. It says the names. Mamashanda said that very recently that they just discovered them. They discovered these Kvorim, and it has clearly the writings of these 2 names, Chanan and Avishalom. So it starts in the bottom line. Someone went overseas, he's not around, and his wife, he's alive, but he didn't leave money for mazonos, and she has a right, the husband's supposed to support his wife. So his wife goes to Bezdin and says, I need mazonos. So the Bezdin is going to collect from his estate to give him mazonos. Chanan Omer, tishava b'sof lo tishava b'tchila. She doesn't have to swear. At this point, she doesn't have to swear that she didn't get mazonos. We're going to sell the husband's fields and the estate and give her mazonos. And maybe there's a chashash that he did leave money for her, so she doesn't have to swear. Tishava b'sof at the end. Rashi says the end means when she's going to eventually collect ksuba, so then she has to swear that she has no money. She got no extra money that the husband left for her, more than the ksuba, more than the rights that she had, including the mazonos that she got. She wasn't given twice mazonos. But right now, when she's coming to eat, and we're going to sell now the food, the estate for mazonos, we don't have to make her swear. We don't make her swear. But there were some people that argued. I don't know who they are. B'nei Kohen Gedolim. Kohen Gedolim, usually Kohen Gadol means a Kohen Gadol, but sometimes Kohen Gedolim means the powerful Kohanim. It doesn't mean like doesn't mean that mean the Kohen Gadol that we know the position of Kohen Gadol, but it means those Kohanim that were powerful. And B'nei Kohen Gedolim, I don't know what that is, but here that sometimes you find this expression when it talks about their power, and they weren't after doing the right thing. But here it sounds like there was a machlokus, and these people, B'nei Kohen Gedolim, they argued and they said, no, she has to swear. She shouldn't be, and it has nothing to do with tikuna. It has something to do just opinion of Bezdin. And they said that no, if they're going to collect from the husband's estate, she has to swear beforehand in order to say then that we should know that there's no money that was left for her for the mazonos. And Abdosa ben Akinis agreed to them. He agreed to the Kohanim Gedolim, B'nei Kohanim Gedolim, that she does have to swear in order to collect the mazonos. But the Rebbe Yochanan ben Zakkai did agree to Chanan that she doesn't have to swear only when she collects the ksuba, then she swears on the whole past, but she doesn't have to swear now that she's getting mazonos, she doesn't have to swear. So the Gemara goes into an issue that seems like a very, very side issue about the history, how many Dayanim were there, Amish says, Shnei Dayanim Gezeros. Agav, this was also, we said that the kever they found was Mamish Gei Ben Hinnom, very close to in Yerushalayim. So interesting. That's the Shnei Dayanim Gezeros of Yerushalayim. Very many. Shlosha Dayanim Gezelos of Yerushalayim. Here it says there were 3 judges of Gezelos. It doesn't say Gezeros, but the Reish says Gezelos with a lam, but also says there were 3. And the Gemara sees that as being a contradiction. Admon ben Gadoy, here's his father's name. Admon's father's name was Gadoy. Also Chanan HaMisri, he's the one we didn't have in our Mishnah, and Chanan ben Avishalom. So there are 2 problems over here. One is the fact that there were 3, not 2, and one is that it's the Yana Gezelos, not the Yana Gezeros. Kasha Tlasa train, Kasha Gezeros or Gezelos. These 2 questions. There's a contradiction if it was 2 or 3, and the contradiction if they were the Yana Gezeros or the Yana Gezelos. So the Gemara takes one at a time. Bishlom Tlasa train lo Kasha, the Chashav like Katani, the lo Chashav lo Katani. It doesn't bother us the fact that one place says 3, one place says 2. There were really 3, but 2 of them were more significant. So in our Mishnah, it only chose the important ones, the significant ones. And that's going to be Chanan and Chanan ben Avishalom and Admon ben Gadoy. But Chanan HaMisri was like the 3rd level. And he was 3rd, he was on the lower level. So our Mishnah doesn't count him, but he was also on that group of Dayane Gezeros. How about this thing of Gzelos and Gzeros? Elo Gzeros or Gzelos Kasha? How are you going to reconcile this contradiction? Rav Nachman Yitzchak goes in Gzeros al Gzelos. It's not a contradiction. They were Gzeros concerning Gzelos. Gzera means there's some kind of a knas, a Gzera, and not just judging it. And Gzelos concerning Dine Mamlis, something concerning about monetary laws, they made Gzeros. And he brings a case of something about the goes with Gzeros. He it has to do with monetary laws. So then was happy to say that they were Gzeros about Gzelos. Kedatan, you learned in a Brisa, Kitman Natia. Rabbi Yossi Omer goes to Gzer Shebirushalayim Omer Natia Vashnasa Shtei Kesef, Vashtei Shanim Arba Kesef. The Brisa says if an animal cut down, kitma, the bikota means to snip. But here we call it like Nikdan Rosha by a lulav. If the top of the lulav is snipped, that's called Nikdan Rosha. The word kotem, when you break off some besamim, that's called to be kotem. So the animal went into somebody's field, and there was a sapling over there in the tia, and it broke it, so it destroyed. So how much does it have to pay? So he would have said, I think, I'm just saying what I think, that you should usually assess it, evaluate how much it was worth. But they made some kind of a gzera, like a standard, how much you have to pay. And they said, if it's if it's within the year, if it's a yearling sapling, that it just within its first year, then it's worth shtei kesef, and bashtei shanim arba kesef. It sounds also, I think, that it's pretty expensive. I don't know the money value, but it sounds like they made a gzera, they said a standard, that's why it's called a gzera. It's called a gzera because it's some kind of a knas. And I guess people were being lax and taking care of the animals, going to other people's fields, and they were breaking things that made a gzera, that if an animal broke a sapling within its first year, they have to pay shtei kesef. If it was ready in the second year, it has to pay 4 kesef. So what did the Gemara find in this brisa? That you have to go through gzeros, and you see it has something to do with monetary matters, nazikin, damages. So it's not difficult to say that the Gozer Xeros were about Gzelos. So it's not a contradiction. We can call them either Gozer Xeros or Gozer Xelos. And as far as 2 or 3, so okay, so there were three, but there were 2 chashuv ones. And our Mishnah only mentioned the 2 chashuv. Hanan Misri doesn't mention.
So here we're talking about animals that are eating.
That's right. Kitma doesn't say they ate it. Yeah, could have eaten it or could have just doesn't say how it damaged it. How did it kitma? How did it cut it?
Cut something.
If it just trampled it or
Okay.
intentionally to damage, doesn't
These
say.
judges were only gozer on gazela.
That's what it seems. There's another kasha, another brisa that also has a contradiction to our Mishnah. I don't know why it's important, these things. It sounds like history book. Here the brisa says a different name, Nachum. The Gemara also could have answered that he was maybe not on the chashuv list. Well, but then maybe he should have also said Chanan Mitzri also. Maybe the Gemara could have answered that also. Maybe the Gemara said that, but the Gemara is a better terrorist. Amra Papa Man Tana Nachum of Nasani is a machlokis. Machlokis if Nachum was part of the Dayanic Xeris. Again, I don't know what the difference is. It sounds like history. What's the difference? That was whatever it was. It was. I don't know why the Gemara is interested to know exactly. But here the kasha was that there's another one, Nachum. The Gemara says it's a machlokis. The Tanya, Rav Nasan Omer Af Nachum Amadi, because we exert Yerushalayim Maya, everyone knows Nachum Amadi. He's mentioned in Bamem Adlikin. Those people who say Bamem Adlikin, Nachum Amadi Yom, Adlikin Vefela Bubushal, Vachacham Rom, Vachad Bubushal, Vachachem Bubushal. So Madi also sounds like he was from Madai, from Mead. But here it says, Nassan says he was of those Gozer Xeris also, and that's what our Brisa says, that there was also Admon, Chanan, and Nachum. And the Chacham argued, said, no, he wasn't part of that. Okay, Kasha with a terrace, you find Nachum, Machlokis. Next Kasha, the Suleka is there no other Dayanic Xeris, Amra Pinchas, Amra Bashaya, Shlosh Meos, Fatishim, but they didn't like Yerushalayim. There were 394 but they didn't. So why you tell me there are 2 or 3 or 4? There were 394.
Such an interesting thing. Yerushalayim is not that big.
Right, and surely it's not even as big as it is nowadays. Even the old city, I'm not sure at that time, but Yerushalayim first was Ir David, and then it expanded.
How did it fit everyone? I was the nace, I guess.
Okay, here it says there were 309. I don't know, 394.
I don't know if there's 394 rooms in Yerushalayim.
You have to clear out the Muslim quarter, the Christian quarter, the Armenian quarter. You can't think in the Jewish quarter. You have to think. But here it says there were 394 Batei Dinim and connect them Batei Knesios, also 394 shuls, connect them Batei Midrashos, 394 study halls.
Maybe it's a marshal or something.
I don't know. It doesn't sound like there was asking cash. Also, 394 is very interesting. I'm sure this is something Kabbalistic. 394. I'm David.
No, it's all one, and on all of them are 3
all the
mountains.
same, 394. Batei Dinim, shuls, Batei Midrash, and also Batei Sofrim. Sounds like Batei Sefer, like schools.
Wow.
What's that means for the children? So that's the kasha. Why are you saying there are 2 or 3? There are 394. The answer is they were judges. Dayanim tuba habu. The chikamin and the gozer xeros come in. There's a difference between a dayan and a gozer xeros. Like this is what Chaim Dav said before, that the gozer xeros is not tam dayanim. These are people that were making the xeros. So we said it sounds like they made knossos, and they're more like the judicial part, not the judicial, they're more like the legislative. They made the laws. Besides the judging it, that's what a dayan does. But they made these takanos.
On the other hand, we don't hear about their names, their personalities.
Only
in the Talmud, if they were so great, they obviously not comparing to the Gedalis.
I don't know.
But this was their one job.
I would think.
Their one job was to be.
Those big
They
xeros.
didn't have any other job. And then Tess just says that's why it's not a steal. Zeros and Xeros, you can't do it. Maybe it's 2 separate things. Xeros, the Gemara asks, Xeros and Xeros.
And the Gemara answers that's all the same. Xeros of xeros.
Why don't you say it's 2 different things and then it's not a kasha?
Because they're the same people. The Gemara didn't think that they're going to be
So
both
that's
on
what
this.
Yeah, Tess says that one person only had one job.
Also, just to point out, Chaim David, a lot of people that you never hear about too much. Akiva's Rebbe. What does it say about Akiva's Rebbe?
Nachum
Ish Gamze. How many things do you know about Nachum Ish Gamze?
But
He doesn't know the story.
did do a very
No, I'm saying,
significant-
but you don't find
Not
all
much.
the, you
No,
don't,
not
you look at all the
much, yeah.
members about him, you don't find
Yeah,
it.
but there's this awe about him because of his great tefillah.
Yeah, but you want to know about that. You don't know
Yeah,
why do you see him in every fifth Mishnah as you mentioned? So that I guess maybe that's a study, but you find it all over.
Tarfon was up, he's Rebbe or not. Rabbi Tarfon is, we had an argument with him. He was his.
Okay, but they know a lot of tough now. First white line. Amar Avihu Amar Abasi. Goes to Xer Shebu Yerushalayim. Ha'inotin Scholen Tishim V'Tishim Mana Mit Tumas Lishka. They got a salary. The salary of the Gozer Xeros was 99 mana from Tumas Lishka. So 99 mana sounds like a lot of money. I don't know. Why did he get such a big salary?
For a year?
I think for a year.
It should be
And
good
the money
gezeres.
and the money came from Trumas Alishka. Trumas Alishka is we know that everybody gave Machsa Shekel and the money went for the Kabbanas. That's Trumas Alishka. So it's maybe a kasha over here. Why did they get the money from Trumas Alishka? Because it doesn't have to do with Kabbanas. Usually it has to do with Kabbanas. Yahweh Alishka had to do with the Tzrochim of Yerushalayim. So I don't know that it says on the side to look in Shkolim of Zion. I have to look over there. Over there, the Mishnah talks about the Mishnahs in Shkolim talk about what each money is designated for. There's the Lishka, the Trumas Alishka, and then Shari Alishka and Shari Trumas Alishka. So here it says they got the money from Trumas Alishka. It's like a public service, and they got money paid for that public service. Lo
Why
Rotzi.
the reason why they get so much money? I don't know the reason, maybe a reason, because they're really very professional.
The fact that they're such big chachamim.
Yeah, so if they work in Google or whatever, they make a lot more money.
That thing, the Gemara it doesn't say yet the reason why the Ram is mentioning Tochad Kilu. That the reason why they're allowed to take money because they could have made other money. The Gemara is going to talk about the fact that you're allowed to take money, and we have to hold on to this. That they got a salary over here. The Gemara is maybe not going to say. The Gemara is going to talk about Schar Batala. Are you allowed to take money? Maybe only as much as you could have made at that time. But here it doesn't say that so far, so we'll come back. We'll have to come back to the second line over here, that they got a salary 99.
They were
Where's the
judges,
Ratzon?
they were judges or only people making gezeros?
It sounds like the salary was for the Gozer Xeros. Besides, they were called the Yonik Xeros, the Yonik Xeros, but it sounds like their salary was because they were Gozer Xeros. That's what it sounds like. Maybe it includes also the regular judgment. Well, Ratsu, Mosif and Lamb. If they didn't want, that sounds like they want more. So you add on more. The Gemara jumps up. They don't want. What does it mean that they're Risham, that they want to take more than such a big salary? Even if it's a good salary, they don't want. No, LLO stuff good. If it's not enough. Why is it not enough? 99 money. Why is not? What are their expenses? What does that mean?
No,
Are they complaining?
A man is a zuz, no?
What?
A man is a zuz. 1 man is one zuz.
100 zuz.
So it's a lot of money. Wow.
So it's not, usually Kesuva is 200, and they're getting 99
years.
9,900, 99 mana.
If they were judges, you wouldn't want them to be subject to bribes.
Okay, so 10 mana, 15 mana.
And if you're rich, then
When
it's very hard to bribe a rich person.
the Gemara wants to say filthy rich, like really, it says
Yeah.
100 mana,
Oh, yeah.
100 mana, like a millionaire. 99. They didn't bribe me. 99. And that's also that's 99. Nowadays they put 99. They want to say a shekel, so they say 99. 99,000. They really mean 100,000. I don't know. I don't know what the expenses were, and what a lot of stuff. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Even if they don't want, they say it's okay. We'll
It
suffer.
could be also, I'm just throwing out something.
They're
I
actually
know
complaining.
They're not complaining.
that maybe they have to be more dignified. You have to, like, over today in the Israeli system, you have to, every dying gets free clothing, free frock or
In order that they
hamburger.
should be
Dignified.
dignified.
Or
And
maybe
also
they have
means that
special
this is-
chariots or
So
whatever.
99 means that it's not enough to take care of the needs that we say that these are their needs.
To dignity,
Okay.
to be, they have to
What
have
is the most
transportation. and
We add
whatever.
on, we do more than 99. 99 is the salary. If it's not enough, we give more. Even if they don't want, but if that's what they need, we give them their needs, even more than 99.
No, then it was expensive. You paid
Okay.
above them to carry you.
The Gemara continues. Karna. Karna is Amora. And we
Our
find-
scroll has a footnote that the money went pay the whole court. It wasn't just,
not only
he's-
for
that
this.
it's paid for the whole 23 members of the Bezin, for the whole, their families also.
Not only for the 2 or 3 day on Xeros, but for all the Batidin, the whole system.
Yeah.
Okay. The Gemara starts stories about judges. Karna. His name is Karna. We find him a couple of places. He was in the times of Rav and Shmuel, and he was a great Talmud Chacham, and he was a judge. And here it says Karna have a shekel istra mizaka istra michayv. He would take payment. Istra was a seller, I think, a certain coin, and he would
what?
take
It's a what?
it's a coin. A coin.
A seller.
I think it's a coin. Or maybe I got the wrong coin. It says seller, okay. So we take it from both parties, both from the one who wins, the zakai, and both the one that's chayiv, both parties. Doesn't make a difference if they won the case, lost the case, everybody would give him a seller. The don lahudina. Then he would pass. He passed in the din, everyone give him a seller. The question is, how could you do that? How could you take bribery? Consider taking bribery. The Gemara says maybe not. Maybe he's taking from both sides. It's not bribery. Maybe only a problem if he doesn't take from both of them. He might incline the judgment. The word latzliya means to tilt, and he might incline the judgment in favor of the one who gave him bribe. That's pasha the bribe. But over here, but since he took from both sides, there's no chash he's going to incline the din. No, that's not true. It's also to take even from both sides.
I'm sorry, it means to.
The word latzliya is to tilt. Ister is a seller.
A seller.
The kasha is that's not true. Even if they're not going to tilt the judgment, is a mutter to take bribery, and even in our case, they'll take both of them. It's still a say. Why do you have to have a person not to take bribery? Of course, you're not to. And if the person is just telling you that you shouldn't do the wrong judgment and make potter the one who's really high, make high the one who's really potter. You're not supposed to imply the judgment that he doesn't know heter of taking money, surely. Even if he was given money in order to give the right judgment, he wasn't given bribery to do the wrong judgment. He was given bribery to do the right judgment, which probably means also both of them are giving it to him. If one of them gives it to him and says do the right judgment, it also sounds pretty one-sided. But even if both of them are giving him and they're saying we want you to do the right judgment, also starts to take. So how is Karen allowed to take from both sides? The more answers. The more tries that it's only us if he's taking it as a bribery. Bribery means, again, even if saying to do the right thing, that the verdict, we're giving you money, that the verdict should be the right verdict. They're getting involved in the verdict. So you can't get any kind of money for the verdict. But if they say we're giving it to you as a salary, as what you deserve for your service, not because of the verdict. We're not telling you to make a bad verdict, a good verdict. We're telling you to do your job. We're paying you for your service. Maybe that you're allowed to take money for.
Doesn't he get paid from somebody else?
So far, we don't have any payment for a judge. Judge doesn't get paid. And then Gemara says that he took payment from both sides. Gemara is asking, how is it possible? He can't take. So far, the Gemara tries.
It doesn't sound great for such
No, it's for the salary of
judicial.
A judge, so far, the Gemara says a judge cannot take money.
Right.
So the Gemara is looking for it. How can you take money? So the Gemara says, so far, for a salary, maybe also not. Without salary, Mishaw is a mutter to take it as a salary, but not. It says Mishnah and Bechoros that if somebody takes money to judge, his judgments are disqualified. He's not even if he made a judgment, even with the judgment is disqualified. So the more it tries, not a terror. It's only merely agar dina. It's only if he takes a salary for his judgment. Karna took it for his time. That the fact that he's taking time to judge and he could have been out doing his job, so he's taking money for his batala. This is it. This is the Gemara. This is the Gemara you're referring to. But the Gemara jumps on that also. Agabatela mishoya, you're allowed to take money for your time. But Tanya Mechura Dain Shenote Lasal Ladun Ela Shedino Din. A Brisa says that it's disgusting. Mechura. It's a disgusting thing to take money. But if he did, the din is a good judgment. And the Gemara right away says it must be talking about what? No. He's taking a salary. Salary means that it's from both sides and a salary, and he's not doing it for the verdict.
Where you're taking for your time
Right.
from one side.
No, right. If it's only from one. So if it's taken from both sides and it's for his time, and the more is going to prove that it's talking about is taking it for his time. Because what's the case that it says that the din is, it says here it says dino din. Here it says with the evidence, if he did the judgment, it does take effect. What's the case? If he's taking it for the judgment, we said before, Dino, we said a second ago that's not good. If we go up a couple of lines, it says Anotel Chala Dun Dino Betalin. So there it says that he's disqualified. His judgment is disqualified. Here it says that his judgment is qualified. So if he's taking it for the judgment, Dino Din Vatani, we just said it's really a Mishnah. Anotel Chala Dun Dino Betalin. So must be talking about that he's taking it for his time. Elaga Betela. And still it says that it's disgusting. So it's not. Can't say Karna was taking that either. But it's still considered disgusting if he takes money even for his time. The Gemara answers, that's only if he takes money for his time, but it's not obvious that it's for his time. How much money that is not so defined. But if it's a defined amount, I think Gemara is going to say that he had a job, he had what to do, and he takes money for the same amount of money he would get for doing his job, so then he may. Then it's not even disgusting. Like it says Tohi va'amber the chamro. The Yavi lezuza. Karno was a professional, how do you, wine connoisseur? Is that the way you say it? Connoisseur? Yainan. So that was a job. He was able to, the word tohi means to smell. He was able to tell the wine is good. Amberos in Rashi means like a warehouse of wine, and he would get a zuz. That was a set price that he would have for his job. So now if they wanted his time, so you'd say that then whatever one, 2 hours, each hour I do a different
100,000 hours. to get
100,000.
to-
So this is my job. So I'm taking off my job. So if you give me the same amount that I get my job, that's called schar b'teva. That's kagra the muchach. That it's obvious that that's mamish the price that he gets for his own job.
Muchach meaning,
That it's obvious.
oh,
So then it's permissible and it's not even disgusting. If it's not, just he makes a time for his price, a price for his time. So then it is disgusting, even though dinim, but the evidence, if he did make a psak, it does take effect, but lachatchila he should not. It's considered disgusting. But if there's agro the mucha, then it's motiv lachatchila. The Gemara is another story of such a case where it was agro the mucha, that it was obvious how much it was, the price. When Avuna, when a din Torah came in front of him, they wanted him to judge it. Give me a person who's gonna draw water in my place, and I'll judge for you. It means he had to take care of his own fields, Rashi said, and he would take the buckets of water and water his fields. So give me somebody should do my job. It's even better than taking the money. No money, just give me somebody should replace me and do my job. So then I'll have the time. Then I could be released in order to do your judgment. So that's what even lachatchila.
and the money that the person, does his job, where's the money coming from? The job?
No, the guy that he wants to, the one who wants to be judged,
Right.
he should provide.
Oh, right, to do his work and he'll get the salary, kilo, he's
You
getting
get the
paid.
work done.
I
You
get
get the
it.
work done.
The guy
So-
who's drawing water will get paid.
No, he needs to pay his family. He needs to
Well,
support his family.
He's looking for some kind of a remuneration for
It's
it.
like, I'll tell you, I'll work for you in Ramban and you do what I have to. I need you to build my sukkah. I say, I'll take care of your bottom job in Ramban. You build my sukkah. I need you to salary. You need that money to water bill.
Yeah, I went to print and Dari Karbach, Shlomo's daughter. On Facebook or Facebook.
Just to go back to what Ram mentioned before about 99 mana for the Gosri Xeris, Chumas Alishka, what is that? 99 mana. If Agmar came out of it, not allowed to take a salary, all you could do is Agmar the Muchach. That means that they had another job and the same amount of money. So is that the 99 mana that they got Chumas Alishka? So Ram tried to say that maybe the case will be that the Taka could get some high-tech job that they could get 99 mana. It could be, but I think the also talk about that this having a steady position is a different category. To have, when they want them to be the Yonik Xeris, that means that we want you to become experts in this field and to give all your time to come every day. And you should be panui, you should be set aside for this job. That's different than going into Besmedrish. We need it in Torah. Could you come out a second or another couple of hours and take care of art in Torah? Or could you teach us Torah? And not as a permanent, set, fixed. So when you want somebody to be panui, what's the word panui? Available. So then, and to dedicate himself, someone's going to be a rebbe in a cheder or in a yeshiva, and he should prepare and he should come every day and he shouldn't do anything else. He has a right to. Then they say maybe it's different than our whole sugya. That's not talking
Yeah,
about.
but here it's saying if it's one-time thing, so then do it for free.
Right.
Why take money? But
Right,
if you're
You
doing
want me
it
to
as your
be-
whole
right.
life,
You want me to teach? It's okay. You come to the Bismedish, you ask somebody, please teach us Torah. Okay, so I'll teach today. He'll teach tomorrow. He'll teach the third day. But you want me to I should be setting aside every time. This is my set schedule now. So then it could
They
be
like
different
him,
in our Gemara.
he's got a talent, he's good for they like him, they want him. to
Okay,
be the-
but he doesn't have a
Yeah,
chiyuv more than
yeah,
anybody
no,
else.
I'm saying
So that
that.
could be that then there's a different klal. Maybe he's allowed to take money for that.
Hakamar's talking about someone who's a one-time thing.
The whole Gemara talks about that Karna when they wanted him to judge. So then he didn't have a position of the judge. If the town needs
He
somebody to
wasn't a
be the
position
judge.
of a judge,
But the
they
case
wanted him
before,
to judge.
in the second line, we're talking about Tumas Alishka, the Xeris, it could be they
Yeah,
want him to
that's
be set
different.
aside. It could be that there's a position that they want him to take. So then it could be that they're allowed to take money for
What
that.
fascinates me is that none of these 3 or 4 mentions that we are involved with the Shakya Taya in any of the halachic issues we know about, at least what I've come across in the last.
I'm not sure what he's saying.
These 3 Gozer Gezeres, whatever you want to call them, including Karna, they're never in the Shaklabataria in any argument, halachic argument in our Talmud. We never come across them being part of the.
We do. Currently, we do find it. Yes. But he asked the kasha before. The same thing
I
asked
guess
before.
it's the same kasha, but here I'm saying specifically, surely they had an interaction with Chachamim, Rabbi, I don't know, whoever you want to say, Tarfon, Rabbi Kiva. Surely there was back and forth between them, and I don't recall any of it.
That was what I asked before.
But did you answer me then as well?
I just said that there are many great people that
Right,
many
right,
great people
right, I
that
understand.
so how come
Still fascinates me.
okay, no, I didn't I just said that there are people that you'll agree how great they are, and that most of the people are not
We
going to
don't see
mention
them in
the
the Talmud. That's-
Okay, the Gemara continues. The Gemara goes on to Agarata, I guess you could call it all about the dinim of Shochad. Rabbi Abo, Bo Rei Kama Samuels and then Shal Makabel Shochad. Come and see how blinded are those people who receive bribery. Adam Chosh Beinov, no sin. It's like a plain words to say that they're blinded. I mean, see how foolish they are. Adam Chosh Beinov, no sin Mamal Rofe. Person has problem. We're not talking about this. We're talking about how they are so reckless with their eyes.
Besides the actual.
They're not talking about Isurim. Adam Chosh Beinov, no sin Mamal Rofe. A person has a problem with his eyes. He pays money to the doctor to heal him. Suffolk Mishrafi, Suffolk Enem Mishrafi. He's not sure that he's going to get healed. But here, hey, noten Shabbat Pruta they're actually blinding themselves by taking even a small amount of money. Even the Shabbat Pruta is considered bribery. And the pasuk says that they're going to become blinded. It's a drash. Of course, the pasuk means they'll be blinded. They won't be able to see straight as far as judging. But the more is dashing that they're also a punishment. They're going to be blinded. That the bribery is going to blind those who could see. A person who's like okay, that a person who could see. Hashem is going to make that they should be blinded. So a person is consciously, willingly doing something which is for a pruta, for nothing. He's going to make himself blind. How blind are they? How blind are they that they, it's like plain words it seems. How blind are they that they're willing to take a pruta to blind themselves when they would have a problem with their eyes? They would give thousands of dollars in order to get healed. Maybe it'll help. Tanu Rabbana. It says in the pasuk, there are two psukim. If you look on the side, it says over here, Shmos Chav Gimel Vam Tesayin. There are two psukim that are very similar about issue of taking bribery. Here, before we just mentioned the pasuk in Mishpatim, Ki Hashochad Yaber Pikchim. There's another pasuk now in the Vorm Tezayin. That's Kisei probably somewhere around there. Ki Hashochad Yaber Inei Chachamim. Before it says Yaber Pikchim, this pasuk says Ki Hashochad Yaber Inei Pikchim, and then it goes on. Yisalek the great tzaddikim. So the more darshans. If the bribery is able to blind the eyes of the wise, it's surely able to blind the eyes of the fools. And the pasuk says, "V'yisalef the great tzaddikim." It twists the words of the tzaddikim. It surely, maybe some learn it means the words that are righteous, but here more seems to be mentioning about the righteous. The tzaddikim, the words of the righteous. Twist. See, look. Surely it's going to twist the words of the Rishon. So the Gemara jumps up. What do you mean? There are Tipshim and Rishon that are judges. Midi Tipshim or Rishon and Eidain. No. How could it say that the bribery is gonna blind the eyes of the fools? It means that they're judges. What's a fool? How did the fool get into the business? How did the fool get accepted to be a judge? It must be in Russia. You don't accept these kind of people. So how can it be even a scenario where they're going to be blinded? Blinded here doesn't mean the physical blindness, like the Gemara said before. Here it means that they're not a judge at all. Rashi explains on Ahmed Beis that the point is that they're going to become fools. That the fact that he took bribery, so even if he was wise in the beginning, he got the position of being a judge because he was wise. Because he takes bribery, he's going to become foolish. And then we talk about him that surely the bribery is going to blind him then. If he's blinded him even when he was wise, so surely after he's going to become foolish because of the bribery that he took, it's surely going to blind him. And also, end of the pasuk, we saw David Tzadikim, he got the position of being a dime when he was a tzaddik.
Simeon Talev.
What?
Simeon Talev.
The blindness of the heart.
So what are we saying? That
He's going to become
won't leave the
foolish
world
before he becomes foolish. Before he becomes foolish.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw David Tzaddik in the same point that how did he become a dayan if he's a Russia? No, first he was a tzaddik. I feel tzaddik gomer. So in the words I wouldn't have seen it. Tirfadas usually means that he goes mad, he goes crazy. But here the Gemara seems to say that he's going to become a Russia. That he saw David Tzaddikim, that the one who was a tzaddik became a Russia. That's how he got into the job. He became a dayan and he was a tzaddik. But he took bribery, so he became a Russia. And surely the Yisalef, the great tzaddikim, that bribery is surely going to twist him when he became a Russia after he was a tzaddik.
You're saying Terev Das means a
Usually,
Russia?
usually Tir of Das means that he goes mad. He goes
But
crazy.
here,
But here, according to Rashi Pshat, the Salif is not coming to say that the Russia is taken for granted. That since he was took bribery, he's going to become a Russia. And now it's going to be a Misalif. Now it's going to twist him. Now this twisting is going to be the Tir of Das. His mind's going to be twisted as a Russia. But the Kasha was, how did he come down if he's a Russia? The answer is he was a tzaddik, but the bribery made him into a Russia, and he still has the position. So if it twisted his mind when he was a tzaddik, it's surely going to twist his mind when he became a Russia. The
I
Gemara
think the
continues.
message is that it's a complete flip over and a very, very quick flip over.
Okay, the fact that it says quick that you added on, but that
Right,
it's going to
I'm
change. It's going to
thinking-
change him from being wise to becoming foolish, from being a tzaddik to becoming a Russia, and that's later stage. Surely it's going to be affected by all of the bribery that he took. The Gemara says in the second line, when Avdimi came, he came from Eretz Yisrael to Bava. He said, Darash Rav Nachman bar Kohen. Rav Nachman bar Kohen said the following brush. I guess Rav Nachman bar Kohen is from Eretz Yisrael. He said, My Sid. The pasuk says in Mishlei, Melech v'mishpat yamid oretz v'ish truma shasana. A king, he establishes the land with judgment. He makes good judgment. He establishes the land. And ish trumos, which Pashtat means that he accepts presents. So then he's going to destroy it. He's going to be erased. He's going to demolish the land. So the Gemara darshans that the Melech is referring to a judge. Usually Melech means a king. And now we're saying that the judge is called a king. Why? In what way is he a king? Because he doesn't need anything. The king is rich. And if the Dayan is like a king that he doesn't have any needs, then he could do a good judgment. But if he's a person who's poor, so he's very vulnerable to money. So it's dangerous, even though he's not taking bribery. The Pashtat is just true that he takes bribery. But the Hira Chiddush is going to be if he needs money, it's good to have a judge who's rich. If the judge is like a king that doesn't need anything, then he's able to establish the land correctly. But in Truma, like the Kohen gets Truma. Why is that? The Kohen doesn't have any money. He's not given a field, and he's getting the Truma. If he's a Kohen who has to go to the different granaries to get some Truma, so then then he's going to tear down he's going to demolish the land because he's so vulnerable to money. So it's easy to tilt him. A person who doesn't have any needs, so you can't bribe him because he doesn't need the money. So it's good to have a judge who doesn't have any needs. The Gemara continues. Amar Rabba bar Rav Shila, Hai Daina, the Shol Shilta, Pasal Meidandina. A judge who borrows things is puzzled to judge. He borrows things. He doesn't have everything he needs. He has to go to neighbors to borrow things, so he's puzzled. The point is because he has to be on good terms with everybody in order to be able to borrow. You don't want, like we just said, you want a melech, somebody that doesn't have needs. So if he has to borrow things, so then he's puzzled to be a judge. Less than borrow. If he also has things to lend out, so then it's okay. Everyone he lends, everybody borrows from each other. He borrows sometimes, he lends sometimes, then he doesn't feel any special obligations to anybody. He doesn't have to lend. Only if he doesn't have to lend, he borrows and he doesn't have anything to lend out. He just borrows, he doesn't lend. But if he has things to lend out also, so then he's not affected so much by the fact that he has to borrow because he's also lending. He feels on par with everybody.
That's okay.
That's okay. It's good. You look bothered by that?
A shule doesn't mean borrow, it means lend.
It can be both. It's very similar.
I'm sorry.
Shoel and mashal. Shoel shilta means that he borrows, and lushuli means to lend.
Shule.
You
You see it inside, right?
That's the Aramaic spelling.
In the Hebrew, we say shoel and mashal.
I just want to say something. The Kohen who goes to the granaries to get money, I think we learned in the past, I'm sure we did, that the Kohen is popular and liked. He doesn't have to go anywhere. They're going to bring it to him.
That's not a learning. That's a fact. That's a fact of.
I'm saying so. The person who goes to the granary, the Kohen who's going to the granary, he's got a problem again. But the pasuk says it. What it says he's going to.
No, it's just using him as a marshal. That he has needs. He doesn't have his own money. It's just using him as a marshal. It's not a bad guy. The Kohen's a good guy. He needs money. He goes to the granary and he's hoping that the guy will give him.
No, but I'm
I
trying
could
to
say over there
equate
also
the king of the judge to the Kohen
the person who gets truma. The person who gets truma, if the Kohen goes to the granary, he's supposed to give to the Kohen Mukim. He's allowed to put aside some for his acquaintances, but some is supposed to come to the Kohen. But he doesn't only give it to them. Because people who come to the granary, he's supposed to give to them. Each person gets a certain amount. What are you saying?
No, so I'm just saying that just like we call the judge a king, that he's got everything.
He should be a king.
Right. So I'm saying that same marshal would also apply to a Kohen, but it doesn't have to go to the.
That's not the point. The point is the Gemara is using. The Gemara is using the point that a Kohen who doesn't have money, he has to he's talu in other people. Even the Kohen who's not in the basic run, the Kohen who's they're doing with him, but also he needs the people. It means that he doesn't have money on his own and he comes on to other people. So it will be a problem. But the Kohen like that is going to be the judge. He wants to have good relationships with the people who are giving him truma, and he might be coming to him for judgment. He shouldn't accept to be dying for such a person.
It almost means that means that the Kohen shouldn't be a judge before because he always has to. Never has his own chevra.
Maybe.
But it's not the case. We know that the Kohanim were judges, or they were involved with halacha.
That's true.
That's my confusion.
That's true. Okay, here it uses it as a mushal of a person that doesn't have his own. So then it's not then he's too vulnerable. The Gemara continues. Rava would borrow from the people of the family of Bar Marion. They were rich people, and they didn't have to borrow from him. Means that it doesn't say Rava was poor over here, but it means that they didn't need him. He sometimes borrowed from them, and he didn't lend to them, not because he didn't have what to lend, but because they didn't need anything. So how could and he seemed to he was a judge? The answer is when he borrowed from them, he didn't need it from himself either. He used to borrow from them just to make a chashivus to them that Rava borrowed from them, but not. He was only interested in their good, so he doesn't feel obligated because of that. He's doing it for them.
How's that from the words?
Which word?
La'achshuv.
To be machshiv them, to make them chashuv. He did it in order. He wanted to be machshiv them. He wanted to give them.
That he borrowed.
The boy means he wanted to be machshiv them.
Oh.
See how much they were machshiv Talmidei Chacham. The wealthy was machshiv Talmidei
That if he
Chacham.
borrowed from him. Amar Rava, my time with the shochada. What's the reason that it's also to take bribery? So we would say, what's the question? Of course, you take bribery. So the Gemara seems to say something that's more delicate. That not a bribery where he knows that the guy's wrong and he's going to say, yeah, you're right. That like the Gemara doesn't. The Gemara is saying something deeper. That even it's going to affect him in a much deeper way. Since he accepted bribery, so he becomes like a kiravadas, he becomes closer to him emotionally. He becomes like his own self. A person doesn't see guilt on himself. That means that even if it's in the subconscious, not only consciously, the conscious bribery we understand. Sure, he knows that he's high and he says he put it, that's surely. But even if he doesn't really, he thinks really the guy's right. That's because he took the shochet. The shochet affects him on a subconscious level, just like he's not able to see guilt in himself. He's not going to see guilt in him either because he already became unified with him. My shochad, shehu chad or shehu echad. The word shochad is a hint of that it means they become one. They become unified. The fact that he get money from him, so they become one, and now he looks at the other person like himself, and he doesn't see anymore. He doesn't see fault in him anymore. The Gemara is going to say more stories like that even subconsciously also the bribery affects.
There's a story about a judge. The guy snuck money into his pocket. He didn't even know about it. He's seen it. And if he says, for some reason, I'm always thinking that this guy should be right. Why is that? And then all of a sudden he realized that there was money in his pocket.
Is that a Gemara or a Medrash or a story? Okay. The Gemara stories on this. I didn't finish all the Gemaras yet, but there are stories over here. I didn't come across that yet, but maybe it's going to be in the Hemshech of the Sugya. The Gemara continues. Amar Papa. This is about 5 lines before it spreads. A person should not judge somebody that he likes or somebody that he hates. And that's not a chiddush, but he's going to explain the point, like we just said, that he's not going to be able to see it, not only because he's going to consciously change the psak. The one he likes, he can't see any guilt by him, and the one that he hates, he can't see any merit by him. This seems to come in like a parenthesis. This next Gemara seems to be something, a side point that's not mamash our subject, I think.
Wait.
Meanwhile, from Amr Abaye, 2 lines up before it spreads. Amr Abaye, if there's a Talmud Chacham, that the people of the city like him. Not because he's better than the others that they don't like, but because he's not rebuking them. The Talmud Chacham who rebukes people don't like him. So if you see Talmud Chacham that people do like, it isn't not because he's such a nice guy, because he's a better. It's because he's not rebuking them.
The Milei Shema,
with heavenly issues. Amirava, this does go back to the subject of it. I would think the parenthesis is over there. On the first wide line, Amirava, in the beginning, he was the Rav of Mechuzah. So he says in the beginning, I thought that all the people, I said that the people of Mechuzah, they all like me. And it could be that was true. But they became a dayan. Once I became a judge, then I thought that I said to myself that some of them are going to hate me, some of them are going to like me. That means the ones that I'm going to find guilty, they're going to lose it in Torah, they're going to hate me. The ones that win are going to be. But then he says, but then not always have a feud in Torah. And the one who won today, he loses tomorrow. The one who lost today, he wins tomorrow. So then what's going to be? How are people going to react to me? So Amena, Imirachim, Kulu Rachmuli. Isanu, Kulu Sanuli. Either everybody hates me or everybody loves me. It means that everybody gets sometimes a good psak, a bad psak. So how does the human psychology work? If the giant sometimes justifies you, sometimes he says you're guilty, so do you like him or not? But everyone's in the same boat because everybody sometimes wins, sometimes loses. So I don't know if everybody hates me or everybody loves me.
The hate is better than the.
So you're saying everybody hates me. Even if he won five times.
It's not the same.
It says in the pasuk, don't take bribery. It goes without saying you shouldn't take money bribery. It's even us to take verbal bribery. The Gemara maybe adds on another drasha because the fact that it says betza would mean profit, monetary profit. It doesn't say that, it says shochad. So the Gemara is saying shochad means even verbal shochad. What's an example?
Flattery?
The Gemara is going to say some examples, many examples. What is the case of verbal bribery? Shmuel was going on a ferry on the water. So somebody gave him a hand, like he probably is going off the boat. So someone gave him a hand in order to help him out. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing over here? What's your business over here? I have a judgment to come to. So he said, I can't be the judge. Because you gave me your hand, even though it's a small thing, everybody would do it. But I got a favor from you, so I'm possible to be a judge.
That's harm here means things.
Means doesn't mean monetary. How do they translate ribis shochat dvarim?
A bribe of words.
Bribe of words. Okay.
And all these cases are not words.
And not words,
Right,
definitely.
right.
But it's also the idea. Okay.
It's not monetary.
Okay. I'm listening to say maybe the word dvarim doesn't always mean words. It could
But
mean
it does.
things.
In Hebrew, dvarim means words. But
And-
in English, we translate dvarim as things.
Things.
That's right.
Okay.
So the English translation would work.
Dvarim. Okay. I hear. Another story. All stories. Amemir Abu Yosef B'Kadan Dina. Amemir was middle of a judgment. Torah got vibration and a feather flew onto his head. Whatever it was, a feather from the chickens outside came onto his head. Somebody came and took it off and took a feather off of him. What are you doing here? I'm also going to get a judgment. I can't be the judge. That's because he took some of the feather off of his clothing. Also, that's enough that it's. Another story. There was some saliva, some spit on the floor. Also, somebody came and covered it up. What are you doing here? I have a judgment to do. I can't be the judge. Even a small thing like taking away something disgusting. I also.
In all these cases, the Chachamim were going to be the Dayanim.
They said, I can't be the judge. Go to somebody else. I can't be the judge over here. Somebody said that's to point out that you see, you're supposed to be so grateful. That whole issue of bribery is because you're grateful. You're supposed to be grateful. You're supposed to be gratitude. If you have no gratitude, somebody said, I have no problem with bribery because I'm not grateful. Here you see, it could be the sensitivity of people of it that they were so sensitive even for such small things. That's a proper thing. You should learn this out from the Gemara. You're supposed to be grateful, but then you shouldn't be. Then you have to know that the bribery is also affected. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi have a regular say that they come out Shabbat to cancel the period. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi, he had a sharecropper. That means it was his field, and the sharecropper worked on the field and bought him a certain percentage. And every Erev Shabbos he would bring him his share, a basket of fruit from his own field. Yom Echad I used to labor Chamishi b'Shabbat. He usually brought it Friday. One day he brought it Thursday. He said, "Why was that? How come Thursday?" Amalei Mashnai. How come he came now? Amalei Dinasli. Anyway, I'm coming for a judgment on Thursday. On my way, I'll come anyway. He had a judgment by his balabayas, and that wouldn't be a problem. He's allowed to be his dime. That's not enough of a relationship to pass them. And he said, why should I come? I should come tomorrow again. I'm coming anyway Thursday, so I'm not going to bring it tomorrow. I did it for my own interest. Also, like Abulmine, he didn't take it from him, and also I don't know why I didn't accept it. He could accept it. but he didn't accept it.
I'm not to make a point, to show people, don't try to do anything.
He
And
wouldn't take the
Because he
money
wanted to be
early
nice
he
to me,
didn't
so
take
that
the
it's all-
basket
on Thursday.
on Thursday.
And he still.
And he
wouldn't.
also said, I'm not going to be a judge.
I said, because you wanted to be nice to me, that's already. considered the show.
Even if he
You want
doesn't, yeah, but why doesn't he accept it already? And don't be a dime.
Why didn't you accept it? To make the point.
Double negative.
Oseb, Zuza, the Rabbanan, Zuza, Zuga. So he got other Rabbanan to be the judges. Oseb, Zuza, the Rabbanan, because I didn't know. So he got other judges instead of him that he should judge the case. But when he was passing by, Omar, he heard the case and he said that he could have done this, he could have said this, he could have said this. And he was so impressed that the judgment, the bribery, which also was not a bribery, that it affected him so much. Omar, he said, Tipach nafsham shel makabli shochad. I don't know exactly what it means, some kind of a curse. Tipach means like to bloat. Any translation over there if you have? Tipach nafsham.
Oh, Tipa, may the souls of those who accept bribes suffer
Agony. Okay, that's mapach. That is a word, mapach nefesh. Mapach, like agmas nefesh.
That's what it says from
Yirmiyahu. Okay, so they should have agony. Those people who accept bribery, why? Because I see what it affects. I didn't even accept it. If I would have, it would have been mine also. Right? I'm allowed to take it. I had such an effect on me. If the mamash take bribery, surely they're going to be they're affected in their whole mind. They can't only see one-sided. Another story. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Elisha, I see who got Rishis Agez. A person bought a Rishis Agez, one of them on the Skuna, the first shearings. So here is what Chaim David was saying that the Kohen, just because you get a present, doesn't make you puzzle. Here it says a certain story. He got the Rishis Agez. Someone gave him Rishis Agez. He's a Kohen. They gave him Rishis Agez, the first shearings. Amalei Mechad, where you from? Amalei Meduch Polan, from a certain place. So he said it's very far away. There was no Kohen on the way. They should get closer to me. He came to all the me to give Rishis Agez. I have it in Torah. So I figured while I'm coming to the Torah, I'll bring it to you already. I'm puzzled to be a dime because you brought me the Rishis Agez. I think that the was mashma that it's time if you got if you would have gotten like anybody else in the city, maybe that wouldn't have been. The fact that he got Rishis Agez didn't sound possible. He gave me Rishis Agez. He just says because I'm not sure. Maybe what can you take from this Gemara? The fact that he got Rishis Agez that makes it possible because he came special for the din, and he gave it specially to him because he's coming to him for the din Torah. Does it say here that a Kohen who got some honest kuna is not allowed to be a judge for that person?
No, because he was the judge. He was the judge in that city. You can say he never took any money.
You see a Kohen. He's
What does it mean? I don't understand. He's still a judge, so surely.
right.
not.
You see, so what was worse over here because he brought it to him from far away.
Right, because
People
usually you
of
give
his
it to your city.
And now I get that. Now he gave it to me because I'm going to give it to him. Even though the tircha was for your own interest, he did it for himself. No, he could have done it. He could have given it over there. The person before that he was Thursday, Friday over there, that's really a chiddush because he's going to come Thursday and Friday again. So your mama did it for his own interest, but I benefited. And here, the fact that God Rishis Agez, that alone wouldn't have made it impossible, but not have made it impossible. But the fact that he gave it to him, which is a far city, that's considered something out of the ordinary. But a regular Kohen that gets Manas Kuna is not possible for a down.
Obviously, it seems that he knew this. He came specifically to give it to the Kohen who's going to be the Dayan. He knew him. Why did he come all the way to give it?
He's coming anyway to a judgment to him. So he's
to
thinking,
come.
I'm going to you anyway.
I'm
So I'll bring it to Rishis Agez. What's the problem? He said, no, it's a problem because you should have given it to the Kohanim in your own city. The fact that you came to me, I'm benefiting. Lo Kabbalah didn't accept it, then the same thing happened. Also, he got a pair of Rabbanim that should judge him. While he was passing by, so he said he could have timed this, he could have timed that. The people who he gave a curse that those people who accept bribery should have agony. I didn't take, and even if I would have taken, it would have been right. Told me that I'm allowed to take Rishis Agez, and also it affected me so much. So those people who take bribery, surely it's going to affect them.
Because he heard the psak and he would have.
He didn't hear the psak, but he heard the tinus. And in the tinus, he said that he had a migu, he had this, he could have said something that would make him, not that he would have lied, but he said the tinus. Sometimes it depends which claims you say. So he says that he could have claimed this, he could have claimed that, in ways that it would have made him win the case. So the fact that he so saw his side, he realized it was because of the bribery. Now goes a famous story, which I prepared. This part I didn't see today. I just skimmed through it. I think we'll be able to go through it. Rav Anna, I was already out of time. Should we start? Yes? We
I
start?
have to go.
Okay.
Please continue, Matt. Don't
Okay.
stop because of me. please.
Okay.
Let's do a little more. One more story.
It's, okay.
One more.
Rav Anna. Rav Anna, I see Le'yahu Gavra, concept of Gildani, the Begili. Rav Anna, someone bought him a basket of, what is this Gildani? It was some kind of present, obviously. Small fish.
Sardines.
Rashi doesn't even tell us. There is Rashi?
Beginning of a line, you'll lead the baby.
Okay, I don't see it, but okay. I'm gonna lay my ability. What?
10 lines and 9 lines from the bottom of Rashi. First word.
Okay, Eshikov, good. So he said, "What's what my ability? What is this all about?" I'm gonna lay din isli. I have a judgment. Low couple mean they didn't accept it. That sounds like simple. He gave him a present for no reason. That sounds like I'm gonna lay p'son lachaladina. I'm possible to be the dime. I'm gonna lay dina the ma lo bina, but kabule lekabel ma. But the band said, okay, I won't do the din by you, but I want you to accept it. I don't want you the din. I want that you should accept it from me. But don't hold me back from bringing bikurim. Means I was going to say a side point now that to bring a present to a Talmud Chacham is like bringing bikurim. The Tanya Vishba Bibal Shalisha Vayave Laisha Lokim Lachem Bikurim Esrim Lachem Sorim the Kamel B'Siklono. Is a pasuk in Malachim. It says on the side that somebody came over there, Elisha, he had the banana bean, and somebody came from a place called Baal Shalisha, and he brought to the godly man, which was Elisha, Lechem Bikurim, which is going to mean, the Pashup Shat means that it was bread from the new wheat. 20 breads of Saorim and Carmel, when it was still in its Siklono, I think that means in its shell, I'm not sure. But the question is, why is it called Bikurim? He brought him lechem bikurim. So the pashut means the lechem from the new wheat. But the Gemara says, it's not a reason a present to a Talmud Chacham. It's like he bought bikurim in the base of Mikdash. So he said, please accept it. I wasn't going to accept it. Now he told me that it's like bikurim and you want to have this. So then I accepted it. Okay, he accepted it, but he didn't do it. No dintor. Shari l'kamed Rav Nachman. He accepted Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman should be the dayan. Shalach lei nidani marla hagavra dana p'sun l'levedina. So he sent a message to Rav Nachman. Please judge the case because I can't be the judge. But he didn't say why he can't be. When? I'm puzzled to be a dayan. So he didn't say why. He didn't say the story. Just said I'm puzzled. And Rav Nachman got the wrong impression. Since he sent me this message, it sounds that he must be a relative. Why is he puzzled? Because he's a relative. And he thought that since he's a relative of a Talmud Chacham, so he has precedence to other on the line. No, that's not a reason. You could think, but he thought that he has the Talmud Chacham. He's supposed to be mechabed. So if there's a din Torah, so he goes first. So he's a relative of a Talmud Chacham. Also, maybe he goes first. Have it come Dina the Asmi come made. There was somebody online. Someone before Amar. Hi, I say the couple of Torah. If there's a mitzvah say to take care of the Yisomim, there's a mitzvah say to be mechaber Talmud Chacham, and he said the couple of Torah goes first. So therefore, the order of which judgment should go first should be the order of the relative of the Talmud Chacham. Salke ledina diasme vachse ledina. So he put the side of the Yisomim on the side. And he said this the Torah should go first. When the opponent saw that he's giving him cover because he seems to be a relative of a Talmud Chacham, so he got clumped up. He wasn't able to time the opponent. So I think the halacha really is that a Talmud Chacham's din Torah goes first. So I don't know how to juggle that. The halacha is if a Talmud Chacham comes for a din Torah and they're online, he goes first. And they don't say that the opponent's not going to be able to claim anything because he sees that there's cover being given to the Talmud Chacham. So I don't know how this Gemara is going to be reconciled with that halacha. But the Gemara continues, the two das here doesn't belong. Elio used to come to Rabbanan. Because and that's where he taught him Elio, Seder Elio. That's the medrash we call Elio Rabba. So this time the Elio. So he told him, he taught him so he's teaching him. We used to have a seder, a kfiyas with Rabbanan. Chivin the Abatachi is Once the story happened, so then he stopped coming. because of the story that he indirectly made the I thought to make Nachman think. I don't think Rav did anything wrong. Like it's very, very subtle over here. That he just said that I can't be the dine, and he took to mean that he's a relative, and because of relative he gave him the thing, which also might be true. Yeah, but I think that, but even that, I think Talmud Chacham does go first.
But maybe he wasn't.
But even he wasn't. Talmud
That
Chacham.
was a mistake.
Okay, and it wasn't Rabbanon's doing. Rabbanon didn't do anything. But anyway, Eliyahu stopped coming. Yosef Batanisa Bo Rachme, he made a tinus Rabbanon, and he davened, and then Eliyahu came. But Kiyasa, but when he came, he was scared. I mean, it wasn't the same situation anymore. Before, when Eliyahu used to come, he was comfortable. But
Was
now,
Lucy?
but he was terrified. He made a box. Yosef Kamei. Sidre. He would be in a box while Eliyahu Navi would be teaching him. He would be in a box in order to be less exposed to Eliyahu Navi. Find the army say that the Rabbi said Eliyahu. We say, "Tana de Eliyahu Rabba, Tana de Eliyahu." What's that? The Rabbi was probably done from Eliyahu Navi before the story, and the Zuta is the one they learned from him after the story, and he was in a box. He wasn't in the same relationship anymore. That's the end of this.
Oh, the main body was like.
I don't know if it's because more or less, because it was a different situation, different relationship.
So that's where we're up to. Eliyahu Zuta.
Right. Yeah.
They made up two times.
Rashi says, "Zay del Yorav Shlomet Chusla Teva, Zay del Yozuta Shlomet V'Socha Teva." Okay, that's your question.
I was hoping you were going to be able to resolve that ambiguity. I had the same question. I didn't understand what the Gemara is. What are you supposed to do in this situation where, let's say, there is a relative? So, how do we understand this Gemara? Like, if a person happens to be a relative, so the other person's going to get upset. Like, how do you avoid that? If you know what I'm saying? If he's a Talmid Chacham, a relative of Talmid Chacham.
Not only a relative, Talmid Chacham himself. Talmid Chacham himself, I think, if he comes to the Din Torah, the Allah is you are supposed to give him precedence online. That his Din Torah goes first. If there's a line of people waiting, and a Talmid Chacham comes in, he's supposed to go first. And you don't say that the opponent's going to be flustered. So I have to look into this still.
If you get an answer, let me know. Thank you, Ralph.
Okay. So we're going overtime.